The match was quick and decisive. First team now had their second win. Darkspeed red-benched Newton, then Oracle. Saber faced Olympian head-on, but it did little good. Midas red-benched Greco and Aid from his invisible vantage point. Virtuoso controlled Shroud and made her turn visible and stand still. Bioforce only needed one shot to red-bench her. "I feel left out," she said as the team teleported to their common room to get cleaned up. "Don't feel bad. Next time, right after Midas benches their hitter, you leave him and start hunting," Olympian said. "Look, 2 matches in a row we won. We did it quick and none of us were benched. We have nothing to complain about," Darkspeed said. "I like being a team player, don't get me wrong. I just really need to start working with IQ on that invisibility stuff for the uniforms," she said. "He abandoned that project," Virtuoso said. "He did?" she asked. "Yeah, a couple of days ago. We decided to put more time into a smart uniform." Virtuoso could hear She's thoughts loud and clear. "I wish you had more time to spend in the lab too. You can't be everywhere." She looked at her friend with sorry eyes. "I wish I could too. Being a combat stealth takes more time than I thought. I was hoping to do everything while I was here. I don't think that's going to happen." "Get cleaned up," Olympian said. "We have to go console Saber on his match." "Don't you be mean," Bioforce said. "I can be anything I want to. Did you see what he did to my armor?" Olympian stretched his arms to the side to show the cut marks across his chest that went through his armor and showed his skin underneath. "He cut through your nano armor?" She looked closely at the damage to his uniform. "No big." Midas looked at his armor from a few feet away, and the cuts in the armor sealed. "Thanks," Olympian said. "Be thankful you're invulnerable, or Hannah would be doing the fixing and not Joseph," Virtuoso said. Darkspeed came out of his room cleaned and in a new uniform. "Why are you all still standing around?" Connors walked up to the apartments where the academics, techs, and administrative personnel stayed. Outside of Miss Waldron's apartment, he knocked on the door and prepared for anything. Miss Waldron answered the door and stared at him. "Please tell me you got my note," Connors said, standing outside her doorway. "I did. You need to stop playing head games with these kids," Miss Waldron said. "If I picked a fight with them, they'd fight with me. If I pick a fight with you, they come to your defense. They all promise to be better students, especially Olympian. On the condition I apologize to you. So, I apologize for snapping and being rude. You are doing a wonderful job as their teacher." "Apology not accepted. You don't mean it. You left that note for me before you picked a fight. How can you be sorry for something you planned to do?" "I told them I would apologize. I never said you would accept it. Look, I know we call them alphas, but you don't know what these children will be asked to do. Every day they will have to be taught to excel at everything. They can't afford to have weakness, especially one that's unnecessary. The end justifies the means? Is that how you see it?" "Now we understand each other," Connors said and stepped back to leave. "Is that it? I know you have all the gifts to be great at your job. That's why I recruited you. Work with me to keep them on track, to push them. To fail is to jeopardize their lives, not yours." Connors then flew up into the air. Miss Waldron didn't like what Connors said or how he said it, but he was right. Miss Waldron went to her computer to look at the lesson plans she had for first team. She began looking at how to accelerate their schedule without totally overloading them. Inside the hotel, Greco was talking with Olympian. "I didn't make it 2 steps before Midas benched me. I feel like I didn't even get to fight," Greco said. "You can always get him back during combat training tonight," Olympian said. "The little guy's quicker than me. I can't ever get a hold of him." Midas walked up on them. "You guys don't listen. I'm not little. I'm 11. I'll be 12 in January," he said. "I turned 14 in January. What's your birthday?" Olympian asked. "The 4th? Mine's the 8th, just like Elvis," Olympian said with a smile. "Are you kidding me?" "No, I'll be 14. "No, about Elvis' birthday. I mean, who keeps track of that?" Olympian smiled and said, "I do. I keep track of all kinds of trivial things. But remember, that's how I knew about the old articles about you-know-what." "What are you talking about?" Greco asked. "He's talking about nothing," Midas said to Greco before turning back to Olympian. "So, you're nearly full grown at 13, almost 14. "No, I just hit 5'10". My father and my brothers are all 6'4" and over. Mother said my brothers did their final growth spurt around 15, Olympian said plainly. I turn 15 next month. I hope I get a good growth spurt, Greco said. Midas looked at the two standing next to each other. Greco was taller and heavier than Olympian. So both of you are hoping to hit what, 6.5 feet tall? My father's just a bit taller than that and almost twice my size. With any luck, I'll get that or better, Greco said, then asked, how big are your father and mother? 6 foot, and my mom is less, both near Miss Builds, Midas said, feeling left out. See, you're 5 foot nothing now, and when you're full grown, I'll still be able to call you Squirt, Olympian said. Midas said nothing to Olympian. He just walked away. With his super hearing, he had heard older boys pick on younger boys when he attended a regular school. As a near miss, he had never been picked on or made to feel small. He didn't like it, and he didn't like the way Olympian acted around the other hitters. Olympian became their leader and chief show-off. She was talking to Virtuoso when she heard part of the conversation from across the room. Virtuoso, what's going on with Midas? He's really upset, Virtuoso said. Couldn't you hear that? His mental shield is starting to keep his thoughts quiet. I have to purposely connect to him, Virtuoso said, and then switched to telepathy to continue. Olympian was a jerk to him. Here, I'll replay his thought of the conversation. She heard the conversation as it took place and what Midas was thinking. That's horrible. Midas is like Olympian's sidekick. They watch his stupid football games together constantly. Olympian used to think Midas wasn't going to make it as a superhero. I could hear it in his thoughts. I admit, Midas was pretty useless the first match, Virtuoso thought before she was cut off by She. He's really come around. He can bench their hitter with a thought. Granted, we have to keep him from getting benched, but his power can do so much other stuff. I told my mother how his power had been coming along. She wants to schedule a time for him to visit Tokyo. I think she's going to see if he can transform the exoskeleton of the Bishamon Sentinels to a new alloy she made. The two girls soon gathered Bioforce to their side. Once informed, the German girl made a beeline for Olympian. She and Virtuoso knew how direct Bioforce could be, and they let her take the lead. Greco, could we please talk to Olympian, alone? Bioforce said with fire in her eyes. I don't know why, but you're on your own, friend, Greco said and excused himself from the four of them. Virtuoso was standing close to the other girls. She reached out and touched Olympian, and all four teleported away. They reappeared in the pit. Virtuoso used her illusions to create light in the dark pit. What? Olympian said loudly. The girls started to berate Olympian for how he had treated their youngest teammate. All three of them talking at once made Olympian want to fly away. As soon as he thought about flying away, he felt his body lose control and stand still. He was powerless to stop the tirade of the girls in front of him. How dare you try to make yourself feel bigger at Midas' expense? Virtuoso said to him. You're the hitter. You're supposed to protect your teammates, She said. That kid is the only one who likes to sit and watch your stupid football games every Saturday night. You should be grateful to have a friend in your own dorm, Bioforce said. Didn't your mother teach you not to hurt other people's feelings? Especially those that belong to people close to you, Virtuoso said, even louder this time. The questions that did not wait for answers kept coming until they heard Connor's voice. That's enough. Let him go. Connors was standing on the side of the pit, half seen in the dark. Olympian was released by Virtuoso. He quickly stepped directly in front of her and looked down at her. Mind control me again and you'll be sorry, Olympian said with his combat face. Virtuoso didn't notice before how angry Olympian was. She was too busy venting. He felt like he was humiliated and violated. She could feel his hitter instincts coming to the surface, making his adrenaline surge, seeing her as the enemy. Virtuoso felt like a rabbit in front of a lion, trying to figure if she could do something or teleport away. Back off, Dove Boy, Bioforce said loudly as she thrust herself between them, and she took position behind Olympian. All of you stand down, Connors commanded as he landed next to them in the pit.